everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda N, and I love exploring the unsolved, crazy, and slightly darker sides to the internet. Today, that dark side has to do with adrenochrome. Because of the pandemic, conspiracy theories and outlandish stories have been popping up all over the place, and one of those that's resurfaced has been adrenochrome. I'll warn you right now, if you've got a weak stomach, this might not be for you. Adrenochrome harvesting, if you aren't aware, is blood harvesting. This conspiracy theory, for a while, was nothing more than a hidden pocket of the internet that journalists and mass audiences weren't aware of. However, as described by Wired, it's remained a mainstream conversation for certain online communities. As a result of the relative unimportance of adrenochrome, it doesn't get written about much by scientists, journalists, or academics. This creates a data void, a vacuum of trustworthy information unpopulated by authoritative sources. Within a data void, search algorithms surface what's available rather than well-curated, local, timely, and relevant content. This is the perfect condition for a viral infection of misinformation and conspiracism. Now, here's the thing. I love a ridiculous conspiracy theory as much as the next person. I've seen the Netflix Flat Earth special. It's hilarious, a mix of pathetic, entertaining, and somewhat disheartening. And yes, it can be alarming how people think that way and ignore evidence that's right in front of their faces, but at the very least, the Flat Earthers are only hurting themselves and the people around them. They're remaining ignorant and spreading ignorance. But what I think worries me most about adrenochrome conspiracy theorists is that they're not only affecting themselves, but implying some seriously dark stuff about children. A popular spin-off article reads, "Adrenochrome is a popular topic in conspiracy circles. It's a drug of the Hollywood elite. It's addictive. It's harvested from tortured children in satanic rituals, they reckon. The current strain of theory is that a huge amount of celebrities have come down with COVID-19 due to a tainted batch of adrenochrome." So, where do these children supposedly come from? And why is adrenochrome so coveted? Well, Hollywood absolutely has a dark side. It's been called a whorehouse. There's victims of sexual abuse, many victims being children. It has a dark underbelly. I won't deny that. Plenty of this is alleged, but there's enough accusations and articles and documentaries about the topic to make us question what really goes on in Hollywood behind closed doors. So for some, jumping to the conclusion that the Hollywood elite abuse children with a far more sinister nature isn't a gigantic assumption to make. After all, adrenochrome does exist. There is some science mixed in with all this conspiracy. It's a chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline, epinephrine. The Journal of Orthomal Medicine, Volume 22, Number 4, page 174, discusses the nature of adrenochrome and says that adrenaline sprays in the 1950s were making some asthmatics psychotic, causing them to hallucinate. There's been links to it in schizophrenia, and the Cambridge Journal of Medicine states, "These authors do not regard adrenochrome as being unquestionably the toxic agent in schizophrenia, but suggest that it, or some closely related substance having the indole ring and derived from adrenaline, is involved." They also advance the opinion that the metabolic fault consists of an overproduction of adrenochrome or similar substances. Such a view necessarily implies either overproduction of adrenaline or a blocking of one or more of the paths of adrenaline detoxification in the body, which do not lead through adrenochrome. As adrenaline is derived from tyrosine, the hypothesis is essentially one of these abnormal tyrosine metabolism. From this hypothesis, certain deductions can be made. So, this study is from the 1950s. It's what I've seen when I'm doing this research, what these people keep referencing, but even later studies in the National Library of Medicine can only hypothesize any link between the two. So, if this is the case, why would Hollywood want this? Why would these Hollywood elites want adrenochrome at all? Well, adrenochrome is a drug that the elites love, says gossip columnist turned conspiracy theorist Liz Crokin. It comes from children. The drug is extracted from the pituitary glands of tortured children. It's sold on the black market. is the drug of the elites. It is their favorite drug. It is beyond evil. It is demonic. It is so sick. This is where the conspiracy theory truly starts to unravel. I'm not suggesting Hollywood elites don't use drugs. Far from it. Drugs have their history among star-studded actors and actresses, and to suggest anything else would be nothing but denial. But why adrenochrome? Why not, well, heroin or cocaine? This may be an absolutely stupid question, and I'm just speculating here, but isn't a little baggie of drugs a hell of a lot easier to transport than someone's missing child? Maybe I'm wrong by even entertaining the idea, and these conspiracies need to be ignored or shut down. But if I did learn anything from that Flat Earth documentary, it's to argue logic with these people rather than ignore them. If we can have adult, fact-based conversations about this and speak to conspiracy theorists, even the radical ones, like people that deserve to be heard, then maybe we'll get somewhere. So, let's start using some logic. Adrenaline. We've heard of adrenaline rushes, how they allow someone to lift a car or fight a bear or whatever other stories you've heard, but no one's ever truly quantified it. Don't take my word for it. The adrenaline rush is something that we know about but nobody has ever quantified, said Bob Girandola, a kinesthesiologist at the University of Southern California. The main research barrier is that life or death situations can't be replicated in the laboratory. And when one arises, when a mother's son gets trapped under a car, no physiologists are around taking notes. This hysterical strength, this natural drug, I guess you could say, creates adrenochrome when it oxidizes. But here's the thing. Increasing the heart rate, blood pressure, altering the body's metabolism, all this can be done with drugs. Don't do drugs, kids, but it can. My point is that steroids, cocaine, meth, all those seem like they'd be more effective than adrenaline. I'm not a scientist, I could be pulling that out of nowhere, but I haven't found a single article online that tells me why adrenochrome is more effective or a better drug than what Hollywood elites can already get their hands on. Aside from just debating about if this exists, why can't any of these conspiracy theorists tell me why? What's so special about it? Not to mention the very little evidence that has been presented, like Lady Gaga interacting with a bloody art project or a fake post by Mark Zuckerberg are, well, fake. So we've got a drug that may not be effective, possibly being injected into the Hollywood elite, and it's being taken from, well, what children? That's my next point. What children is this being taken from, supposedly? One book on Amazon says, 1 million children disappear every year. Where do they go? This is the truth about adrenochrome. Alright, let's get one thing straight right away. The number isn't 1 million, it's 800,000, and only 115 cases per year are from the child being taken by a stranger. The vast majority of the time, a child is taken by someone they know. Whether it's a custody battle, a family friend, you get the picture. This is not to diminish those situations by any means. A missing child is a missing child, and every single one of them needs to be found. But the idea that there could be 1 million children being shoved into this adrenochrome conspiracy is insulting and disrespectful. Over 99% of children that are abducted by people they know make it back alive. And for the 115 that are abducted by strangers, it's 57%, so about 65 children. 40%, 46 children, are tragically killed. And the rest, that 3%, about 3 to 4 children, aren't found. These numbers are annual. So if we go by them, that means that conspiracy theorists truly believe the entirety of Hollywood's elite is drinking from an unaccounted 3%, 3 to 4 kids. First of all, it's sick. It takes away from the real, serious nature of these cases, and it's sensationalizing something tragic. That's what truly irritates me more than anything about this conspiracy theory. But secondly, even if I went along with their theory, these numbers simply don't add up. You have a drug that is unexplained, we don't know how it works, it certainly doesn't seem as effective as other drugs out there, and then you have children being taken for it, 3 to 4 a year, even though the potential number of those Hollywood elite could supposedly prey upon is minuscule compared to the amount of Hollywood elite that exist. There are no links or evidence that this is coming from a trafficking ring or that it's even occurring. It's beyond frustrating. Claims like this need evidence, plain and simple. And again, that's not to say that Hollywood doesn't have its dark side, but exaggerating the truth and speculating to this extent is irresponsible. But regardless of how absolutely ridiculous this may seem, I really wanted to cover this and maybe shed some light on the topic. So, with all that said, that's where I'm going to end today's video. I really hope you all liked it. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. I'm pretty new to YouTube, so I'd love to see you back again sometime soon. Have an awesome day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!